extended gig family. If you're waking up, if you're on the road, if you're chilling, if you're still in bed, if you're watching the video, I wish you nothing but a fabulous weekend. I hope you have a great weekend. Whatever you're doing this Saturday or Sunday, make the best of the next 48 hours. Now, firstly, massive gratitude and thank you to all journalists, reporters, editors that cover the stories for us, right? I do feel like they are on our side. Good morning to you, Kevin. I do feel like they understand that Uber, Lyft, and the gig companies have major safety issues. And the good thing is they keep on exposing those stories, right? We need them, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we are an army of millions of drivers on the road each and every day, right? And we run into scenarios where people are kidnapped, carjacked, stabbed, murdered, assaulted, raped. I mean, every single day, right? And it's thank you to these reporters and journalists and editors that keep these stories in the news. And these stories ain't good for the company. So, they obviously wish that these stories wouldn't show up daily. And in fact, they show up multiple times daily. So I just want to remind you, in the last 72 hours, just 72 hours, right? Just in the United States, not even other countries, just in the United States alone, we had a veteran stabbed in the neck. We had another veteran killed in LA, shot to death. And we had another lady driver stabbed in the face and in the stomach. Now, I'm not telling you these stories to put the fear into you. I'm not doing that. What I'm trying to do is to get the gig workers, you, the drivers, to understand that the media is our friend. And for example, if you are a lady or a woman that has incurred a story or was assaulted or raped in the car, those stories just written up, and maybe if you're not a good writer, you have a friend write it up, but you can go onto Google, you can research your local news, your local papers. They all have editorial sections. You can submit your story, and these online newspapers, print newspapers, medias, TV outlets, they run with these stories, right? Because they feel like they want to be part of a change, and that is to push for a better gig environment for drivers and riders. And I have nothing but gratitude for the tremendous outpour of support of these outlets, the way they handle these stories and push them out, because it only helps us. Why? Because it puts more and more pressure on these companies. Now, the fact is, you and I know this, Uber and Lyft have a major problem when it comes to safety and security for drivers and riders. They cannot seem to get a handle on it. It's more like they don't want to get a handle on it, and they don't want to. Mario Cedillo in the house, they don't care. They do believe, I think, in their minds and heads that, hear no evil, least here. No, they're not disappearing. They're actually multiplying. They're getting more. They're getting more and more and more, because people are becoming more and more brazen. They can see, this works. Kidnapping, trying to steal a car, it works. And how do I do it? I order an Uber or a Lyft. Simple. They come to me, and I take advantage of the driver, and maybe I'll get the car. Not the brightest robbers, not the smartest people out there. Obviously, a lot of the information is captured on some credit card, which will lead to some person, right? And What a lot of these people also don't realize is that we have dash cams in our cars, and many of their mug shots, their faces, already uploaded into a cloud or on a disk, handed over to the police afterwards if something happens, whether the driver is still alive or dead. Police jump in. They usually send a request to Uber and Lyft and say, hey, cooperate with this matter. We have a murder, we have a kidnapping, we have a stabbing, we have a rape. We need your full participation. It's not always that the companies participate, right? Very often these police stations have to force the companies to participate. That's a fact. And what you will see is that Uber and Lyft will always send out a spokesman or a spokesperson, spokeslady, and say, oh, we're fully cooperating with the authorities, with the police. That's their sort of standard go-to line. But ladies and gentlemen, nothing changes. Let me repeat that. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing changes. Yesterday is the same as today. Tomorrow will be the same as today, right? Another story, another life, another killing. Now, if we work together, and we're an army, right? We have the army, we have the people, right? And I do believe we have generals, we have lieutenants, we have captains, we have corporals. I mean, we're like an army, right? And if we use the media, the journalists, the editors, the reporters to our advantage, if you are in a city, in a little city, could be in Lexington, could be in a major city like Salt Lake City, and something happens to you, and you can just write it up and get it to your local reporters or call your local TV stations and get your story on air. And by the way, every single day, I hear countless stories emailed to me, texted to me, this happened, that happened. And the sad thing is that not every story gets told. Not every story makes it out there. Not every story ends in some sort of police report or police investigation. That's a fact. Most of these things get swept under the carpet by Uber and Lyft. So it is our duty as the soldiers, right, as the army, to get through to these media outlets, online bloggers, newspapers, research them in your city and say, hey, I have a story for you. This happened to me, right? I had a lady 2 days ago share a very horrific story with me. The first thing I said is, A, thank you for sharing, right? With your permission, I will tell the story. And she said, I'm not quite ready for that. And I said, okay, I respect that. But I said, please take your story, write it up. You could recall the memory, what happened, write it up. Obviously, you have pictures of dash cam that makes it 100 times stronger, and take it to the media, right? The media, my friends, don't see them in this game as our enemies. They are our friends. They are our outlets. They are our voices. So you take your voice to an outlet and let them speak for you, right? The one thing I learned from a very, very young age is how to work with the media, how to work with reporters, who to reach out to, how to create a buzz, how to engage in PR, public relations, how to put a story out there, how to amplify a story, right? Obviously, a YouTube channel is one of many social media outlets where you can get a story out. That's why I'm appealing to you, I'm appealing to reporters, and I invite in, and I have a lot of reporters that actually watch my channel, and if there's something comes up, they reach out to me and they say, hey, can we interview you about this particular story? I never decline them because any opportunity that I get, they've contacted me. Absolutely, I'm going to engage. Absolutely, I'm going to use that audience and get that story out. And I've broken many of these stories that have gone national. I've driven to a stabbing out in Riverside, brought the driver along, all stitched up, got it onto national media. I know how to work the media. I've always been good at it, and I'll tell you straight up front, I'm not trying to blow my horn here, but that's, those are part of my studies. That's sort of like where I specialized in marketing, online marketing, media, PR, public relations, psychology, coupled with a business degree. Now in the Army, when I was in the Army, I brought somewhat of a skill set like that in as a young 19, 20-year-old. And after my training, about 1.5 years of training, I was in a special unit, intelligence unit, that would, intercept data, would investigate. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail what I did in the Army, but the Army taught me so much, right? In the Army, I was constantly engaging with the media as a very young individual. I was reporting to generals. I had one general that I could pick up the phone and I say, hey, I need this, this, and this. We're going to coordinate with this media outlet in this city, whether it was Durban, Port Elizabeth, Cape Town, Johannesburg. I would rally some reporters or the TV there, and we'd get a story out. So it was something I learned at a very, very young age. Conditioned myself for a few years to use these type of channels, and I've used them ever since for my businesses, launching a product, launching a company, launching a .com, launching a strike, launching a protest, whatever you want to call it. The media, if it's worded the right way, if there is an angle, the media will run with it. Now, there is a paralegal at Uber, the head paralegal, Brian Kubiak. This video, my friend, is for you. And by the way, you're not my friend. And I'm coming after you with the media, as you're going to find out in the next few months, right? And you're going to have to put out a lot of fires, because when I start using the media against your pathetic approach, against your pathetic treatment of drivers, and I'm going to highlight that, using the media, right? Shining the light on these cockroaches, holding up the mirror, showing these people who they are through the media. Again, a lot of that stuff goes back to the Army days, working in intelligence. Sometimes you have to break these people down, right? You've got to interrogate and break people down if you want to get information. I believe I know how to get to Uber and how to get things done. And it's not an overnight success story, ladies and gentlemen. It's a long-term plan. It's a long-term plan that really involves the army of gig workers. It involves the media. It involves effective stories, right? For example, any and every time there is a kidnapping, a murder, or a shooting, thanks to you, actually, you send me a lot of these stories. I get 70% of them, but you guys are sending me 100% of these stories, right? I probably research 70% of them, but you guys are always bringing me 100% of the stories, and I'm grateful for that, because I do not want to leave one single driver, one single family member, one single son, one single daughter out of the equation that has been stabbed, murdered, robbed, carjacked, raped. If it's in the media, I want to tell the story, because telling the story, we can fundraise for them, the companies, and showing them what an utter failure, when it comes to safety and security. Main point, which actually should be number one, and I'm mentioning it as number 3, but should be number 1. Perhaps with a video, perhaps with a story, we can save another life, right? If we can just collectively, as a family of brothers and sisters in the gig business, save another life, save another one of our brothers and sisters by working together, exposing the stories, or bringing attention to the poor and pathetic safety that Uber and Lyft have. And there is so much they can do, they know it. But it's money over lives. It's money over lives. I mean, literally the blood dripping off their hands. They are direct participants in many of these murders because they can do so much more. And there are still drivers today that will attack me and say it has nothing to do with them. You're wrong. It has everything to do with them. They have the app. They are hiring the rider. They are matching the rider with the driver. They have the power to scrutinize, to get real photos, real names, maybe abolish prepaid cards or gift cards that any thug, any killer, any rapist, any pedophile can get his hands on, and they're back on the platform a week later. If they're not behind bars, they're back on the platform performing the same atrocious acts. So don't ever tell me that these companies cannot do anything about safety and security. They can do so much, but they don't want to. Again, they can do so much more, but they absolutely don't want to, because it's the dollar. It's that whoring prostitute mentality that Dara has. I will fuck anyone, right? Even a syphilis infected, crab infected individual, I'll fuck them for $1. I'm sorry to be so crude, but that is Dara Khosrowshahi and the mindset of the executives. They will sleep with anyone. Come to us if you have gonorrhea. Come to us if you have crabs or syphilis. We will sleep with you for $1, right? That is their mentality. They will never pass the opportunity of taking a single buck, a single dollar, right? So they will let absolutely anyone and everyone, no questions asked about your background. And it doesn't matter what you've done in the past, you're welcome in an Uber or Lyft. And get in that car, and whatever you do in that car, we don't really care. Whether you arrive at your destination, whether you steal a car in the process, we don't care, right? Because if they cared, ladies and gentlemen, if they actually cared about us, if they actually cared about the driver that was killed in Los Angeles, if they actually cared about the veteran that was stabbed in the head, if they actually cared about the mother that was shot through the back of her head and left 4 children behind, if they actually cared about the lady driver that was stabbed in the stomach by Mr. Mendes, if they actually cared, they would do something about it. And they don't. So I invite you in media, journalists and reporters, you have my number. If you want to talk about safety next week, if you want to talk about safety next month, contact me. I have a lot of information to share. I have a lot of good suggestions from drivers and subscribers, real good ideas how to combat safety. I come from probably one of the most dangerous playgrounds in the world, you know, the slums in South Africa, where if a cat had 9 lives, this man has learned 13, has survived 13 lives. Why? Because I understood what it meant to keep myself safe and how to build security around me, right? Because if you didn't, you were dead. And we don't need more and more drivers dying. We don't need that, ladies and gentlemen, right? We've had enough. We've had enough of these killings. We've had enough of these stabbings, right? And Uber and Lyft, my direct message to you, my direct message to Tony West, to Dara Khosrowshahi, John Zimmer, Logan Green, Tony Zhu, Brian Kubiak, do not underestimate me. Do not underestimate one individual, because you do not know how I am programmed and how I operate, right? I come from such a different environment. I'm not a Harvard boy. I'm not a Yale boy. I'm not a Stanford boy, right? I come from the streets of South Africa, with an intelligence background in the army, coupled with a business degree, coupled with a psychology degree, and I know how to break you motherfuckers down one by one by one. Without force, without physical threats, no, by using the media and by using an army of 5 million gig workers against you, right? And right now, every single day, every single week, I'm costing this company a lot of money. And I'm engaging in a lot of strikes and a lot of future strikes. And I will talk to many more reporters and journalists and editors until you listen, until you understand that the safety, our safety is important. I will be relentless. I will whip and whip and whip and whip your asses through YouTube, through powerful newspapers, through Bloomberg, through the Chicago Times, through the New York Times, through KTLA, through Telemundo, through ABC, through CNN, through Fox. I will whip your asses 1,000,000 times over until you understand that safety is extremely important to us, because we cannot have another brother and sister die. Sadly, we will. We will be saying goodbye to many more drivers in the near future. We will lose another driver tomorrow and today. But we are not giving up, Derek Khosrowshahi. We are not giving up Tony Zhu. We are not giving up John Zimmer and Logan Green. We are fighting. We are coming for you, right? And if I can be a voice, if I can be a leader on safety, so shall it be. I'm not the fucking God Almighty. Excuse me, I don't want to sound like I'm putting him down, not at all. I'm very, very upset and angry about the fact that people are living in fear and say, I'm too scared to go out there. So I want you executives and investors to understand, my job is not done until we have safety for all drivers worldwide. You need to come up with $50 to $100 million and tighten up your apps. You have the ability to save another life next week. You have the ability to save another mother in a month's time. You have the ability to save a father today. You have the ability to save a daughter and a son, right? And it fucking breaks my heart, excuse my French, I do swear a lot, right? It breaks my heart to have a mother contacting me and say, I'm the lady, I lost my daughter through Uber Lyft, or I'm the wife of the husband you spoke about. It breaks my heart because maybe in a way I feel like I failed them to a certain extent. I haven't been vocal enough. I haven't been loud enough. I haven't fought enough for you. So I'm going to make a promise to all those future families that hopefully we pray, do not loss. Make a promise to you. I'm going to keep on fighting, and I'm going to dig in deep into the trenches. Even as a one man with a lot of help of a lot of good drivers, we're going to win this battle. Do not underestimate me, Brian Kubiak. Do not underestimate me, Derek Khosrowshahi. Do not underestimate my willpower and my relentless fight to change safety for the better of all drivers. Not just drivers, food delivery drivers, shuttle drivers, taxi drivers, all drivers. Every driver out there performing a duty for your company, making you money, you owe them safety. You need to keep your people safe. You are failing them. To all the wives of these CEOs, to all the wives of these executives, to all the girlfriends they probably don't even know about, right? To all the mistresses Next time you're in bed with this man, bring up my name. Bring up my name and say, that guy is going to stick it to you when it comes to safety. So reporters, editors, journalists, you have my number. Let's talk safety. Let's get more podcasts. Let's make more videos. Let's share more on social media. Let's have drivers write their stories and bring them to the media. Your story needs to be heard. Whether you were raped, like the lady said the other day, the man forced himself on her and put his dick into her hand. What type of rider does that? Oh, Uber and Lyft don't care. They don't care about her story. They don't care about the mother's story that has lost her child. They don't care about your story, but we will make them care, ladies and gentlemen, with the help of the media, with the help of millions of gig workers that are going to start turning to the media and put their stories forth. If you want your story heard, there is a recipient out there at some TV station, at some journalist, some reporter sitting down there wants to listen to your story because it's a real story. And the one thing that journalists like to do and editors like to do, they want to be participants in change, positive change. If they feel they can contribute and create a better world for other people through safety mechanisms on our app, they will act, they will write, they will report, they will show up on TV, they will drive their truck and their cameraman down to a scene, to a murder scene, and report on it and interview the driver if he or she is still alive, or interview the rider if he or she is still alive. They will go down there, or they'll go down to 7-Eleven like they did yesterday in Linwood, where the perpetrators left the scene in the car and the driver was dead on the scene. They will go down there and report your story, ladies and gentlemen. Your story is important. Tell it to the people that matter. The people that matter, again, your local newspapers, your local reporters, your local TV stations. And again, executives and investors, you think that one person can't change things? Buckle up, stay tuned. You haven't met me yet, you do not know my skill set. My skill set is definitely not that one of a Stanford, Berkeley, or Yale student that graduated because they had rich parents. My skill set comes from the street. I am a street fighter. Never, ever forget that. I'm always armed. I'll always be dangerous, right? So the one thing I do not tolerate is unprofessional, incompetent people that could do more, but they refuse to do more because maybe the investors say, don't spend $1 on that. Don't spend $1 on them. Shut up and drive. Shut up and drive. Shut up and deliver. Shut up and deliver. Bring us the wheelbarrows of cash. Shut up and drive. Shut up and bring us another. I'm going to change that mentality, ladies and gentlemen, with your help. You and I are going to win this fight. You and I. Doesn't matter. We will get in the boxing ring with a couple of million gig workers and a handful of investors and a handful of... Watch who will win. Watch who will win over 15 rounds. Just watch us, right? So fight with me, stand with me, and work with your media and your outlets. Every person's story, if you are holding on to a story, or if you've been too afraid, I urge you, have the courage to step up. If you were raped in a car through some drunk bastard, have the courage as a woman to stand up, because you have 5 million people behind you. You have 5 million gig workers that are supporting you. You have always someone that will listen in your corner. Never be afraid. If you are withholding a story, if you don't have the courage to tell that story, I ask you to stand up and rise up today, write it up, and send it to your outlet. There are so many stories that are swept under the carpet. It's our job, my friends, to stop the killing, to stop the stabbing, to stop the carjackings. They are not doing anything about it. We are going to do something about it. So I hope this message is loud and clear. I'm very, very, very passionate about safety. I would urge all the other YouTubers, all of you guys, right? Talk about safety. Maybe in the next 2 weeks, talk about safety. All the food delivery gig tubers, all the rideshare gig YouTubers, talk about safety. Stephen from Rideshare Rodeo, he always touches on that topic every 6 months. He never lets it go. He's also a major supporter for a change in safety. AI7AQ says, I am extremely passionate about safety. Amen, my friend. I appreciate you saying that, right? It is our duty to keep other drivers alive. We have that power, ladies and gentlemen. Use it. It's called social media. Tweet, write it up, share it with your reporters, Facebook the stories, make your own video, tell your own video. This is what happened to me. You could make a video, you send it to one of the outlets, and let them run with your story. And maybe if we are lucky, it doesn't become a local story, it becomes a national story, right? So thumbs up if you believe in safety, thumbs up if you want safety, thumbs up if you want to be kept safe, right? Thumbs up. We have 27 people in the house. It's early on a Saturday morning. My day started at 3 a.m. I have just completed my third trip. I made $600 between 3 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the last 5 hours. That's an average of $120 an hour. In the last 3 trips from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. I believe that's 5 hours. Made $600 divided by 5 hours, an average of $120, right? I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna regroup. I'm gonna spend quality time with my kids. I'm gonna work on my house. I'm gonna work on my property, and I'm gonna go back to work at 5 p.m. But I did find the 30-40 minutes to at least talk about a topic that we have the power to change. I'm driving home, obviously tired. I look forward to my bed, and I said, you know what? I just cannot keep on reading and listening to these horror stories. Make a video. And I know who's on our side. The news, the TV stations, the media, the bloggers, they're on our side. Because if they can participate in positive change, if they can help save lives, they will run the story and they're interested in your story. God bless you and your family this weekend. I appreciate you all. I love your ideas. I love your suggestions. I love your proposals. I love your input. It is because of you that I keep on making these videos, right? It is my duty as an advocate and as a voice for drivers to use this channel. And I have very controversial, different ways of getting my messages across. I'm not your average podcaster. I'm not your average YouTuber. I am a little bit blunt. I do have a different background. I am a rough diamond. I'll admit that, right? I have my flaws. I am definitely far from perfect, right? But I tell it my way. I tell it my way. And if I believe in something so strongly, I lock in like a pit bull, like a bull terrier, and I will bite and rip and shred whatever I need that comes in my way until we are victorious. Understand that, right? So I ask you for help on this. Every time there is a story or a murder or a killing, don't have to wait for me. Use that story. There are tons and tons of Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and Grubhub and Postmates and Bolt and Ola. There's so many outlets on Facebook. Drop the story in there. Retweet the story. If you don't have a Twitter account, set it up. Tweet it out. Because media pressure on a company, they can't sustain it. They cannot sustain it, ladies and gentlemen. And I refer to one recent incident where I'll prove to you that with relentless power, not giving up, but rising up, we win. If you look at how the New York strike was conducted, first strike, they dismissed it. You're a joke. You're having no impact. They send out their communications manager, a complete and utter failure. She spat in our faces. She spat in our faces. New York said, fuck you, we'll do it again. Again, they send the communications manager out. Right? She knows who she is. She spits in the drivers and the taxis' faces. Pah! She spits at us. She says, fuck you. Your strikes ain't working. Okay. We'll do it a third time. New Yorkers striked a third time, got the media involved, got convoys involved, got TV involved, reporters, editors, journalists. The story is everywhere. Are you listening now, communications manager? Or do you want us to strike again for a fourth time? Are you listening now? Or do you want us to strike for a fourth time? They caved, they surrendered, they gave in. Why? Question mark. Why? Because relentless media pressure does not make a company look like a hero. It makes them look like a fool. It makes them look bad. It makes them look bad. And New Yorkers showed us worldwide, showed London, showed Cape Town, showed Berlin, showed Toronto, showed Sao Paulo, showed Mexico City how it's done. It's death by 1,000 cuts. You lash, you whip, you whip, you whip, you whip until they surrender. You got to be relentless with your strikes. Relentless, right? So never ever give up in life, my friends. Whatever you've got your goals set, your mind set to, lock in and make it happen. I'm going to make safety for all drivers happen. You may laugh at me. I have to prove you wrong. I have to keep on fighting until we get some measures, some changes in our app that'll actually save lives. Until then, my work is not done. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Let me give you a shout out as I head out. I'm going to be in bed in 10 minutes time. I'm going to hit that pillow and it's lights out. So I want to give you a last shout out. Who do we have in the house? And hit the like button as we leave. Let me give you a shout out. Name and city. Who do I have from one city? Relentless to the point of obsession. I am obsessed. Tell me what you're working with. Mario in the house. Who else? Shout out. Let me give you a shout out. We have Kenneth in the house. Trash people with conscience. Thank you very much. Safety. Hashtag safety. Appreciate you. Thank you for that powerful message. Who else can I give a shout out to? Salute. We got John in the house. You have to get a shield between front and back. True. Kevin Rand from Salt Lake City, Utah. Beautiful. Di Guerrero in the house with the gloves on. Salt Lake City. DFW in the house. I like it. AI7AQ. Dallas, Fort Worth. Shout out Texas. Lone Star State. We got Daniel in the house. Salute. We have Mario Cedillo in the house. Damn right if you're scared to go to church. Teddy in the house. Yes. Teddy T in the house. Legend. Oh my God. Does it look like they just locked this? Did they close this exit? No, they didn't. They're about to close this exit. Let me just slip by the cops here quickly. Whoop, 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 whoop. Ramp closing. Ramp closing. Whoop, whoop. You blow off the shield. I don't know what that means. Want to blow off what shield? We have you in the house. Oh, I had 3 clients this morning. I'm going to bed. Lindy is in the house. Simple Car Detailing in the house. Dignity and Strength. Love you. Appreciate it. Green light, green light, green light. So yeah, I've been up 3 a.m. till 8 a.m. Did 5 solid hours. 3 trips, $600. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Kevin's in the house. Whoop, whoop. And I'm off to bed. It's hard. If you think I can't sleep after 2 coffees, I can sleep. Good morning in the house. Douglas. John says, oh, front and back. Hello, Diego in the house, my friend Diego. Miss you, brother. How are you? 31 likes, smash that like button. Man, am I looking forward to Club Duvet on the corner of Pillow and Blanket Street. I'm going to bed for 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna sleep like a little child. Sweet child of mine, gonna sleep very well. Let's fight for safety. Gracias. Spasiba. Dankeschön. Dankjewel. Grazie. Thank you. Appreciate it. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Come on, baby, light my fire. Do, 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 do. Come on, baby, light my fire. Do, 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 do. I saw just the last little story, which was really touching to me. I saw 100 drummers in Belgium, Antwerpen, that did a rendition of There Goes My Hero, paying tribute to Taylor Hawkins. 100 drummers in a stadium. Let's build Fair Eats. We're building it, baby. We're building it. Just some clarification. People think that Fair Eats is my company. It's not. I'm not the owner and the founder of Fair Eats. I'm their biggest recruiting tool, bringing in 35,000 drivers today. Just like I was one of the biggest recruiting tools for Uber and Lyft, until they decided to fuck me over. They fucked the wrong guy over. It was one of the largest recruiters for Juno and several other gig companies. So the gig companies come to me when they need to recruit, because there's one thing I understand, and it's called sales and marketing, right? So I want Fair Eats and I want Fair Rideshare to succeed. I really do. We need legitimate players in the field. I know some of the subscription-based companies like Empower. I spoke to their CEO. He wants to come onto my show. Absolutely, if he's listening, I'm excited to have you on my show. You know, I want these companies to succeed. Alto, not Palo Alto, but the company Alto, A-L-T-O. I've been pushing them. I've been promoting them for free. Mr. CEO, you owe me a favor, dude. I've been promoting the shit out of you since you started, right? At least, a nice letter, a thank you, or a bouquet of flowers for my wife would be good. You got a lot of free fucking advertising from me. I'm promoting Empower. I'm promoting Fair Eats. I'm promoting Palo Alto. I'm still promoting Uber and Lyft to a certain degree, right? I still think there's certain segments where you can make money. 70% of the Uber and Lyft opportunity, 80% of them are no good anymore, but there's still some money if you're smart. What I'm also promoting on Gig Rocket is how to become your own private driver. Also currently in the works of launching a driver network where you can actually book private drivers, where we put passengers together with private drivers. I'm launching this international network. We've been working on that for a year. Maybe a little bit too early to announce that, but in the next few months, you're going to see me pushing that like crazy. You're going to see me pushing that like crazy. I am at one of my properties right now. I'm going to check in before I head to my house and go to bed. Just want to see how much rain is on the property so I can see if I can work later, if I can maybe do some grading with a bobcat or the backhoe. I love operating that heavy equipment. So let me just see here. I'll share with you quickly. I want to see how much water is on my property. If it's worth going to work and maybe bringing in some workers today. Not entirely sure. I'm right here at the property. Let me just check it out and share this with you. So I'm going to develop this whole piece of land that I just bought recently. And I do see, there's almost too much water. It's going to be a little bit too muddy. It's going to be a little bit too muddy to work. I mean, some areas are dry. It has to be graded and flattened out. Wall's going to be painted. There's going to be planters all along the side. There's going to be a new, there's one of my old trucks at the back there. There's going to be fences going up, new fences this whole next week. Took a whole bunch of trash on this property, started cleaning it up. Yep, they did a great job. So they filled this. This is ready to go. So I'll call this in on Monday. Looks like that's full. That's great. Some jet skis over there. We go playing a bit, some of the toys. And I do have a lot of work here. There's going to be 2 Airbnbs on this property. I'm going to split this property right in half. I have signs up because the people were parking on my property, so I got rid of all of them there. As you can see, houses are fairly nice size, decent size, so that whole wall has to be painted. We'll get the painters in Monday. I'll start leveling out this whole ground here. I'm also using this property to bring in all building parking garages for all my classic cars. That's one of them. My 56, that little baby, I wrapped that green myself. Took me about a week or two. And then those fences in there, they're going to go next week, and there's going to be a new fence all around here. There's going to be parking down that side. There's going to be parking over there. And the bobcats, the builder's going to bring the bobcat around. I use this little guy here. Ton of fun, actually. Ton of fun. All the heavy equipment that we have has their little lock sets here. If you want to come and steal this. There we go. There's the key if you want to have some fun. Yeah, so we're going to go to town. The problem is it's just still very, very muddy. It's very, very muddy over here. So don't want to get stuck or some shit. So maybe we'll see. Maybe this dries up in the next few days, but a lot of work here. And have a great weekend, my friends. You guys know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be driving, and I'm going to be working, doing some planting palm trees, planting cactuses. I love gardening. It's like one of my hobbies. I love painting. So So it's like, for me, a chance to just wind down, escape a little bit. You know, everyone has a lot of pressures each week. I take my sort of like weekly pressure and I go out and I like to create. I love painting, you know, I love planting a lot of cacti, get a lot of rocks in. I love gardening, that type of stuff. That's sort of like my peaceful and quiet zone, is to create something. So you're gonna see this puppy. You're gonna see Kenneth in the house. Thank you. You're gonna see this puppy within the next year and a half. You're gonna see 2 amazing homes on here with 2 amazing guest houses, pools, jacuzzis, and bring in 2 airstreams as well, like little party areas. And definitely the one thing I know is how to get Airbnbs going, how to market them, keep busy, and how to create like a little sort of like fun pad, like an entertainment pad, right? Where multiple, maybe 1, 2, 3 families can come down. You can make a lot of money with Airbnbs if you know how to do it right. Appreciate you all. Happy week. Stay safe. Keep yourself safe. Get yourself a dash cam. Get yourself pepper spray, whatever it takes. But you're important. You take care of your safety. They're not taking care of your safety. You take care of your safety. And what we're going to do collectively is push for better safety, right? Thank you, my friends. On the way out, before you leave, if you haven't, smash the like button. Happy weekend, my friends.